just want to make sure everybody's ready. Adam, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, great. So good afternoon, and thank you everybody for coming today. My name is Chad Williamson. This is Josh Hobbs. We're counsel with Williamson Law, and my firm represents Art and David Pawlowski as plaintiffs in a new civil claim filed at the Court of King's Bench against the Government of Alberta, Alberta Health Services, the Calgary Police, the RCMP, the City of Calgary, Canada Post, and a number of presently unknown defendants. For over 2 decades, Arthur and David have been unwavering in their commitment to their community. As pastors with their street church, they have tirelessly offered pastoral and ministerial services to Calgarians, including feeding and advocating for Calgary's homeless community. Their selfless dedication to the well-being of others has earned them the respect and admiration of many in our community. The civil claim alleges that despite their service and devotion to the community and also to Calgary's most vulnerable, the Pawlowskis have been targeted and persecuted by the very institutions meant to protect them. And of course, the claim was just recently filed at the Court of King's Bench, and we can make this available to members of the media should they so wish to review it. It is alleged that the defendants in this action have engaged in corruption, malfeasance in public office, abuse of process, false arrest and false imprisonment, malicious procurement and execution of a search warrant, intentional infliction of nervous shock, breaches of privacy, unlawful discrimination, battery and assault, cruel and unusual punishment, breaching the principles of natural and fundamental justice, breaching the principles of procedural fairness, failing to make full and frank disclosure to the court, and violating the plaintiff's charter rights to freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of mobility, rights to life, liberty, and security of the person, violating also, it's alleged that the rights to against unreasonable search and seizure, as well as the rights against arbitrary detention were violated, in addition to violating the plaintiff's rights to counsel. The claim also alleges that the government persecuted the plaintiffs for their religious and political beliefs and practices. The claim also alleges that the defendants entered into a conspiracy against the plaintiffs to harass them, deny them their constitutional rights, cause them physical and mental injuries, and make a public example of them. The plaintiffs collectively are seeking compensatory, aggravated, and or punitive damages against the government, against the defendants, some of which are government organizations, in amounts exceeding $3.5 million. The defendants have not yet had the opportunity to respond to this claim. It's also important to note in legal cases in Alberta that the court relies on facts and evidence. As this claim has recently been filed, evidence has not yet been called or tested, but we certainly look forward to a thorough and exhaustive review of the evidence in this case, especially any evidence which has not yet come to life. My office has successfully defended more than 150 Albertans prosecuted by the government for alleged breaches of the COVID-19 CMOH orders, which have been expunged as unlawful by the courts of Alberta. None of the Albertans we defended in relation to the government's unlawful COVID mandates were ever convicted at trial. It was our experience in many of those cases which led us to believe that many of these prosecutions may have been politically motivated to prevent those who disagreed with the government and the unlawful mandates from speaking out and exercising their charter rights to freedom of expression. Believe me when I say that we are excited to conduct a fulsome discovery of the evidence in this case, and we will leave absolutely no stone unturned in getting to the bare and naked truth. We believe that this case strikes to the heart of our shared values of justice, equality, and freedom. Arthur and David Pawlowski seek not only redress for alleged harms, but also reaffirmation of the principles that underpin our society, the principles of justice, fairness, truth, accountability, and respect for the rights of individuals. In closing, we urge you to remember that the fight for justice is not just the responsibility of the few, but the duty of all who believe in the principles of fairness and equality before the law. We will not rest until justice is served, and until David and Arthur are able to continue their important work without fear of prosecution or harm. Thank you so much.
Do we have time for a certain question?
If I'm in a position to answer them, yes.
Okay. Laurence from CBC Radio Canada.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having this today. So we are hearing from RCMP and Calgary Police that they haven't been served yet. Has everyone been served, and if not, why?
That's correct, not served. The rules of court in Alberta allow the plaintiff up to a year not to have been served. So while I'm not going to get into any litigation strategy, the claim was just served. This is a massive and important action. It's just going to give the plaintiffs enough time to get their ducks in a row before the parties are served. The government and the RCMP, they're familiar with the rules of court. They know that we don't have to serve this for a year, but we expect to be serving the claim upon the defendants very soon.
And there's some unknown defendant. Can you explain why unknown?
I'm not going to comment on that at this time.
Okay, and you're saying you are willing to go to extent to make sure that justice is served. How long you're willing to go for? How long you expect this court case to go for?
Civil cases in Alberta, they say that the wheels of justice grind, but they grind very slowly. After serving a claim and then allowing the defendants with the opportunity to respond with a statement of defense, the next step is what we call the discovery process in Alberta. And this is where the parties exchange document evidence back and forth, anything that's material and relevant to what has been pled in the claim. That process in this case, because we're dealing with such a large set of defendants, obviously there's a significant history in this case. We're expecting the discovery process to be extremely lengthy. We're expecting also to run into potentially some problems in terms of what is material, what is relevant to the claim, and what can be admitted as evidence. So claims in Alberta, they can take anywhere from a couple weeks if someone wants to settle a matter, all the way, we've had civil claims go, 10 years down the road to get to trial. So we expect this to be a long road, but we're ready to go through that process.
All the way up to 10 years?
If we have to go to trial, then we will go to trial.
And last question concerning the number 3.5 million, is that something that will be shared equally? How will it be distributed if that's what you're getting?
Yeah, so that information is made out in the statement of claim, which if you send me an email, I can make that available to you. So there are just different heads of damages, legally speaking. That's a collective, and it's a collective number. Again, whether or not the plaintiffs will be entitled to that, that's going to be something that's up to the court. We feel that those numbers are justified, and that's why we made such a claim.
Thank you very much. Can I ask questions to Mr.
Sure.
Pawlowski? You, in the court case, you are saying inhuman condition. Can you give us example of what you're saying?
Well, it's right in a statement of claim. You can read it for yourself. What was done to us Albertans is unheard of. It has never happened in our beloved Canada, and everything that is in a statement of claim, it shows exactly what was done to us, and not just to us. So.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. Again, because we're in such a preliminary stage of litigation, we are not going to be discussing any of the facts or the evidence. Again, the evidence has not been put forward yet. It has not been tested. The defendants have not had the opportunity to respond to the claims. It's inappropriate at this juncture for us to be discussing any facts or any evidence whatsoever. Okay?
I just want to add to this. As you can see, I came dressed for winter. And I'm telling you, I'm ready for 10, 20 years fight, whatever it takes to bring the justice back into our beloved province. I'm willing to be the face of this movement, and I'm hoping that thousands of others will join us. The thousands of others that were hurt in this unprecedented attack on our liberties will come and say, if he can do it, if little Pawlowskis can do it, that means we can do it as well. And I want to encourage everyone to go after the villains. It's time to make those people accountable for the horror that they have unleashed on us, law-abiding Canadians.
Is that okay? What do you mean by encouraging people to go against the villain or supporting?
If they were hurt, if they were attacked by illegal actions of the government or its agents, I encourage them to go and file their own claims. If they cannot do it for whatever reason, I'm encouraging them to come and help us. I mean, we are ready, just like our lawyers said, for a 10-year war. We are understanding that this might be millions of dollars, but we are ready for it. We are looking forward to it, to uncover this criminal enterprise that has unleashed this crazy, evil, straight from Soviet Russia attack on our liberties.
Adam?
Pastor Dr. Pawlowski, you've endured a litany of charges. Effectively, all of them, except for the Coots charge, have been either appealed or overthrown, or effectively no charges. Despite all of that, despite all those victories, a lot of people have continued to malign you, mischaracterize you. How significant is it to you? Part of the statement of claim is the demand for an apology. How important is that part in reclaiming your identity, your role as a pastor?
Well, for example, the leader of our government, the Premier of Alberta, promised before the election that there will be apology, that there will be a recompense to the pastor specifically. She said, Danielle Smith, I'm talking about, that there will be a form of apology and a recompense. That never happened. We have been left to die. What was done to us is unbelievable. I mean, you can tell, and you know, I grew up behind the Iron Curtain. That's exactly what I observed growing up, and this must stop. Those people are not above the law. Those guards, those organizations, health inspectors, police officers, RCMP, they're not. They're not above the law. They should not be above the law. And this, in a way, in a small way, what we are trying to bring is justice back to our province. It's time for the justice to come back. What they've done, and of course the courts already ruled that what was done to us was illegal. Where is recompense? Where is apology? Where is anyone saying anything in this country? Yeah, what was done was horrible and evil. We apologize for, taking you through this ringer. No, that's not happening because they're fake. They are wannabe politicians acting like terrorists and wannabe pharaohs, and they have to be accountable. So I believe that when we uncover everything that we know is to be true, I think people will be shocked by who said what and why those things were done to us. And ultimately, that's a victory for me. Regardless what happens with the finances and this and that, I believe that the victory will be if we will be able to let the public know who did this to you. And I believe Canadians deserve to know who did this to them.
One of the benefits of bringing a civil action in the province of Alberta is ultimately, should this go to trial, it will form part of the public record, and it's tremendously, we think, important to get to the bottom of what has happened in this province over the past couple of years, and we think that that'll happen in this case. Yeah. We'll take one more question from Adam, and I'll address the question that you have, and then we thank you guys for coming today.
Quite a bit of legal resources went into sort of the Ingram decision and what was happening on that front. It was basically deemed moot and on a technicality, on an ultra vires technicality. How much information that you expect might come out in these proceedings was not ultimately disclosed to the courts because that kind of went away?
So there are a multitude of cases now being heard across the province, and there's also some relatively recent historical jurisprudence that has started to evaluate the issues of the COVID mandates and some of the, I suppose, some of the splash over from what happened in our province. I believe that there is still information potentially that has not yet been disclosed and does not form part of the public record. It's our experience, as I said in my statement, that throughout the defense of the over 150 Albertans that were prosecuted for alleged crimes under these illegal COVID mandates, there was disclosure in many of those cases that seemed to have a sinister character to them. We're acting on a number of these cases, whether it's defense cases or plaintiff cases, and frankly, I think it's good to have somebody running these files that is already familiar with the litany of evidence that's been put on the record that shows that perhaps this could have been politically motivated. Thank you, everybody. That's all we've got for you today. Appreciate you showing up.
Thank you.
If anybody has any further questions, you can send them to me by email. I'm likely not going to be around till Monday, so I realize that you're probably going to be going to publication on this relatively soon. But fire me an email. If I have the opportunity to respond, that would be great. Mocha will chat after as well. Thank you guys for coming out. I know it's really cold. Feel free to send me an email. Again, I'm pretty busy, but I'm a huge computer nerd, and I'm pretty quick at penning responses, so I can usually get you a follow-up written statement fairly quickly. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody.